Welcome to Garden Sanity. I'm Laura, and I garden in Zone 7, Southern New Jersey. And I had to come out here to show you just the way the early morning sun is hitting this bed. Now, I showed you this bed a week ago, and it was filled with daffodils, the late blooming daffodils, and the Fothergilla was just getting one or two tiny buds on it. This is Ajuga chocolate chip in its beautiful full bloom of a sea of blue. And these are bottlebrush flowers in a beautiful ivory color on the Fothergilla Mount Airy in my front yard. Just look at this. I was so excited when I saw this from the window this morning, and I said, the sun is perfect, I gotta get out there. And you should do that too. A lot of times, as gardeners, this time of year, especially in the spring, we're weeding and we're pruning back some perennials and we're planting, but are we really out early in the morning when the sun first comes up to just see how pretty everything is? You know, bring your tea out, bring your coffee out, just really enjoy how beautiful everything is. Now here's from another angle. You see this is the orange rocket barberry with its bright spring color, and this is part of the gold mop cypress. And then you see this sea of blue, and I mentioned in the last video I added a few extra last year. Did this one here, this one there. That's a weed. Oh, how beautiful. Look at that. And it goes all the way through. Exactly what I had wanted. Again, primarily it was to protect the Fothergilla from rabbits that like to nibble on the base of the stems. Wow, a bird just went right past my shoulder. Okay, I'll remain calm. But in addition to protecting the Fothergilla, you get this beautiful spring color, and it lasts for quite some time. And what's nice is the daffodils are done, and so now you have these flowers that just give you a whole nother dimension to the garden, especially the middle of the garden. These are stems of the Pinky Winky, which I pruned back, and they are growing wonderfully. Again, you see that in the sunlight, just beautiful. This is the Pinky Winky again. I didn't cut them back as hard this year. I did cut back the outer parts of the shrub lower, but the inner parts I left higher this time. And I'll see how I like that. I think I want them to be a little bit higher this year. And you see all the, as I call them, remnants of the daffodils. There's one remaining one to Deadhead. And this is always what I mean about deadheading, is you get these bulbs. They're not the bulb that you put in the ground. These are actually seed pods. I call them bulbs because they're bulbous. Get up close there so you see it. And those are the ones that collect lots of seed. And if you let that stay on the plant, if you don't deadhead these off, what happens is the energy goes into those. And you don't want that. What you want is all the energy from the sun and the soil, all the nutrients go into the leaves that go down into the roots, go down into the bulbs that are underground. That's where you want the nutrients to go. These are peach drift roses that I had cut back to only 6 inches, and now you can see a little bit taller than that now. Again, and I say again, just if you watched the video a week or so ago, you're sort of familiar with these plants. This is the Color Guard Yucca, and this is one of 2 totally tangerine Geums that I planted here last year. So this is their first year blooming, and what's really beautiful is they're blooming, and the Hellebores are still blooming, which have been blooming since February. So that's just a beautiful combination. In the front, now with leaves on it, are my 3 Firelight Tidbit hydrangeas. And let's hope that these do much better this year. I got to take really good care of them this year. Last year they all got hit with spider mites and they just did not do well at all. More daffodils to come out and Deadhead today. Now here is one of the 3 Veronica Georgia blues I have, and as you can see, it is starting to be finished. Again, good language from me. It's almost finished blooming. That's an easier way to say it. And so this bloomed for a month, and that's a long time in spring to have beautiful color. And just look at how pretty this plant is. It's going to be a nice backdrop to other perennials like this one right here. In the little chicken wire cloche that I put around it is one of my coreopsis plants. And I did that because rabbits love to eat young growth in the springtime, and they do eat coreopsis when it's young. And so I put these around my coreopsis plants and a few other plants just to protect them until they get older. I'm not going to give you a full tour of the bed today since I did that last week, but I did want to show you what's changed. And these are 3 Paint the Town Magenta Dianthus that I have right in front center of this bed, and they are looking great. As you see, all the blooms are popping up. You see some of the beautiful magenta color, and these are going to look gorgeous in about, I'd say maybe another week. Although we are in for a full week of rain next week on and off. So we need the rain, but I don't know if that'll delay these blooming or not. We'll have to see. And by the way, Paint the Town Magenta is my favorite Dianthus. If you're looking to plant just one type, this is it. It's a sea of color in the springtime. And then it continues to bloom sporadically throughout the entire season into the fall. So there you see the sea of Ajuga. And that one flower you see back there, I mentioned it last time, that's a little Leo leopard's bane, and I'll show you a bigger clump of that. The Hellebores looking absolutely beautiful. This is a nice shot. So you have the Fothergilla, you have the orange rocket barberry, you have the leftover daffodil stems and leaves, and then down here, that's the little Leo leopard's bane. Isn't that pretty? When you get close up, they look like yellow daisies. When you're far away, as I said in the last video, my husband thinks they look like dandelions. I think they're very pretty. I had them in the backyard, and they used to come up very early, one of the first flowers to come up in the backyard. Here they come up later. They come up usually, as you saw in the last video, with the late daffodils blooming, and then they bloom. These will bloom for about a month. And then they die back to the ground, even the foliage, during the summer. So you got to make sure you know where they are so you don't end up digging them up if you're planting. Now here's the 3rd of the Veronica Georgia blues that I have, and it's still going strong. Look at that. And it's next to a Coreopsis golden needles, again being protected by a cloche. And next to that is an allium lavender bubbles. And I have a few of those dotted around the front, with another Firelight Tidbit. And I'm hoping for a much better show this year from those. And now I'm back around to the curved part of the half circle bed, and just to show you more of the geum that's beginning to bloom on this side of the bed, again as the daffodils finish. These are some of the daffodils that have finished, and the difference now that you see here is all of these tall fronds. Some of them, I call them fronds. I never know what to call them. They're tall stems, I guess. You got some of the daffodils, but then you also have a lot of Petite Jenny and Petite Henri Lychnis. Look at this. They have beautiful, almost burgundy veined buds, and then there'll be pink flowers, and then the buds start to open up either a pink or a white. The Petite Henri is white and the Petite Jenny is pink, and that's going to look beautiful. I'll show you a picture real quick of what it looked like last year, just to give you an idea what to look forward to if you have this plant. Just absolutely beautiful. And again, by the way, Fothergilla isn't just a beautiful springtime shrub. I've said it's a 4-season shrub, and I also, at the end of this video, I'll put a video up that you can watch where I talk all about this shrub so you can learn whether it's for you or not. I call it a 4-season shrub, but in the springtime, if you like scent from your flowers, this is a beautiful honey scent, and I can smell it all the way over here. It's absolutely beautiful. It's intoxicating almost. Subtle, but beautiful. Now that's where I was, and I wanted to swing around to this foundation bed. You can see the Kramer's Red Winter Heath. Mostly the flowers look brownish right now, and that's because they're starting to dry off. You still have some pink. Again, that's been going since mid-December. You have a lot of the daffodils left over, and some are starting to collapse now, which is step 1 on their way to turning yellow, and then I cut them back. But then you have this. Oh, be still my heart. These are Tempo Rose Geum, or Geum Tempo Rose. How pretty are they? Now, my problem is that they looked gorgeous last spring, just like now, as they're starting to bloom. But what happened is they got baked in the summer sun and did not do well. They don't bloom all summer, but the leaves were crinkled up. I'm going to have to dig these up and find another home for them. Not happy about it because I do like them here, but I want to give them a better chance. So after they're done blooming, I'll dig them up and I will plant them elsewhere where I know they'll have a better shot at looking beautiful in the spring, but also not getting baked in the summertime. And just real quick to swing around this foundation bed, you do have, as I mentioned, candy tuft in both foundation beds are starting to bloom more fully. And then I did cut back the Dusty Miller. It was really tall last year, as you remember, with the yellow flowers. I'll put a picture up to remind you. But I cut this all back. There's 4 of them in here, and I am going to dig them up and divide them. So that's on the to-do list. And then down here is a little Dicentra that got a little hidden last year. So I may have to dig him up and find a new spot for him too. This is a Dicentra, I'll put the name on the screen, from Proven Winners that actually loves full sun. And I have one in each of these beds, so maybe I will put it next to its sibling. Not sure. And these are the tiny quickfires. I'll link to a video above that you can click on and watch, and I'll put it below in the description. I'll always put videos in the description box below the video you're watching in case you want to see more related videos. But I made a little hedge last year throughout this bed of the tiny quickfires. So I'm looking forward to how those will do this year. And then you have the lavender topiary and another lavender in front of it. These are both lavender phenomenal. And they are looking great. You have a Hinoki cypress behind, next to an ornamental maple that is unnamed. And yes, they're kind of clashing into each other, which is a little frustrating. I have to cut that back all the time, but it is what it is. It's not a bad thing to have plants growing well. And then behind that is the Silver King euonymus. So that's just a quick look at this bed. And then this is the other side bed on the other side of our driveway that I gave you a sneak peek of last time. We have 3 little lime hydrangeas in this bed that were planted about 3 seasons ago. So they're newer. And this one is the tallest of the 3, but it's doing well. You have a giant mugo pine. Look at this thing. And look how tall the candles are. Now for most mugo pines, you can just come in if you don't want them to grow. You just snip off those candles. You can even do it with your fingers. It won't harm the plant. It just stops it from growing. But as you can see, I've never done that. Look how huge this is. So my plan is to cut this back. However, I'm not going to do it just yet until I have the whole bed done, weeded, new compost, cow manure put down, and fresh coat of mulch. And the reason being is I want that to be the last thing I do, because last year I got some sap on my ankle and it did not come off for quite a long time. I even use those special soaps. So these two shrubs are Little Henry Sweetspire, and they are very happy in this spot. This spot gets partial sun, and it's very moist. And you can see coming from the ground, I hope you can, when it's happy, it does come up with suckers, but it's very gradual, nothing invasive, nothing aggressive, I mean. You can see the base of the original one of the two shrubs planted, and then these are all additions. And if you don't want them, you can just easily pull them up when they're little seedlings. No big deal. But I even have some in the front of the bed here, and I'm keeping them because I love how full it's gonna look. All of these little green things that look like weeds, that's all perennial ageratum that's starting to come up again. And usually I'll weed some of them out. Doesn't really matter, they'll come back if they want to come back, and they look like a beautiful, like a nice purple addition, especially when it weaves in between all of these Little Henry Sweetspire stems. This should bloom in about, again, it depends how our weather is, but maybe another month. They'll start blooming with all their beautiful white flowers. But right now it's just a beautiful bright green color. Absolutely beautiful. Some of the leaves have a little bit of a tinge of a, like a soft burgundy on them that echoes the burgundy stems. Going down the front of the bed, what catches your eye is more Paint the Town Magenta Dianthus. And you can see this is in full sun, so it's already starting its bloom. And you see how many buds are about to burst. This is gonna look absolutely beautiful. And it's a long bloomer. I really love it. And it's in front of a Japanese Hellebores, which just stays evergreen year round. So this is a nice pop of color, and the evergreen behind it is a nice backdrop, especially because the color of the Dianthus being evergreen, which it is more of a bluish gray green. Really pretty. And here you have more in between remaining daffodils. I almost said remnants again. Down here is a beautiful plant. This is Midnight Velvet Sedum. It is so pretty. It's hard for me to get in here right now with the daffodils, but it just glows in the sun. You can see a little bit of a green cast to it, but as it develops, it's going to be a rose, I want to say rose black. It's like a dark plum, almost black. It's just so beautiful. It's a newer plant from Walter's Gardens. It's really nice. Why I have this here is that's a lantana that is an annual here, so that's dead, but I leave them here so that I can easily dig them up and just put new ones in. So that's my little trick. I just cut them back and leave them. This is an ornamental allium that is going to bloom eventually. Isn't the bark of the river birch tree so beautiful? Oh, I love it. That's a dwarf hinoki cypress in front of it, which just is a very dependable evergreen shrub year-round. And then in front, I planted 3 Kramer's Red Winter Heaths. Now, I talked about this last year, that I had wanted to do that, and I finally got around to doing it, what with everything that's been going on. So there's one there. There's one in the shadows right there. And you can see they're almost finished with their blooms. And one there. And what's in the chicken wire cloche is a hibiscus. This is Cookies and Cream hibiscus. This is a new one from Proven Winners in Walter's Gardens. And the reason I had it in a cloche, I had it in a cloche all winter because I didn't want it to be harmed by rabbits. I also didn't want it accidentally stepped on by anybody. But I want to show you something special about it. And by the way, yes, that is a dandelion. I'm not going to hide it. But what I wanted, before I show you the hibiscus, is I want the hibiscus could spread up to 4 feet wide. So that's a pretty good chunk of space here. So what I wanted was some evergreen color when the hibiscus is not in bloom, or not even a thing. It dies back to the ground every year. So this is what it's going to look like in the winter and the spring, as you see right now. So these will gradually get bigger and bigger, or wider, but they're still considered a subshrub because they're low. But they'll fill in some space, provide some evergreen color as well as flowers during the time that this hibiscus isn't really doing much. And I do think I will put a cloche around it every year. That's my guess, once it dies back to the ground. So I took the cloche off, which I kept in place with landscape pins. And this, let me zoom in. Look at that. This is Cookies and Cream hibiscus. It's growing. And if this is your first time growing hibiscus, yours might just look like this right now, right? You're like, it's dead, it didn't make it, it didn't survive. Just wait. Do absolutely nothing, because eventually you're going to see something small like this, and it's hard to believe this is going to grow to be about 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, but it is. And it's going to be covered with beautiful white flowers. I'll put a picture on the screen so you can see what it looks like. Stunning, isn't it? Absolutely stunning. Walter's Garden sent this to me last year to trial. It's a new hibiscus from them. And so this will be my first year seeing those beautiful flowers. So I'm very excited to watch this guy grow. But for now, I'm going to keep him covered up just so no rabbits accidentally, we'll call it, eat it. So this is what the border of red and yellow twig dogwoods looks like right now from the neighbor's side. And this is what it looks like from our side. Just beautiful, and it's starting to get the beautiful white flowers. And it looks so pretty with the red stems and the yellow stems. Just really beautiful. Then I have perennials, and I'm trying my hardest to make this more of a perennial bed so I don't have to put so much lantana in here for summer color. But I will keep the lantana. Now, why do I have these skewers, these plant skewers? That is to prevent, again, anybody accidentally stepping in them, especially when they were smaller. You see them growing now. So these 3 skewers right here are grape sensation blanket flower, or gaillardia, with a little onion blooming. That is a veronica that I will put on the screen. It's a pink one. Can't remember the name. But that one back there, right back here, is Royal Candles, and that one does really well. This other one, not so much, but I'm going to try to be better to it this season. That skewer is another grape sensation blanket flower. And then these skewers that, again, look like they're showing you dead plants, that's 2 lantana. Cut them back. You don't really see them except for the skewers. But I'm marking them there because when I buy annual lantana, again, dig these out, put those in, easy. And then as we go down this bed is the driest corner right here. And so I've got some coreopsis, again, golden needles being protected. There is some agastache behind it. Another dead plant, which I believe is, that is not lantana. Nope, look at that. That is another agastache. Oh good, it's coming back from the bottom. Ha ha! Yay me. That's always a good thing. 2 more agastache. Most of these are rosy posy, but I think I have a mango tango in here as well. And then on the corner is a coreopsis. And as you can see, they're starting to come through. I'm going to have to take these off eventually when they start growing taller, higher, and fuller. I won't keep those on, obviously, all summer. So that's this bed. I didn't get a chance to show you that, but I especially wanted to show you that I added 3 more Kramer's Red Winter Heaths. Now I have them in every single bed except one up here. But I think that's going to look nice and low maintenance around the hibiscus, especially to provide color during a time where the hibiscus is not really performing. So there's your update of what's blooming about a week to 2 weeks after my previous video showing you what's blooming. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do this more regularly to show you what's blooming on an ongoing basis, a little more regularly than doing a complete tour. And watch this video next. This is all about Fothergilla, which I call a must-have shrub for 4-season interest. Until next time, happy gardening.